Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast Speak to Impact with Kelly Kaye Walker. On this podcast, we talk to people who are speaking already or want to speak more. And my favorite thing is to evaluate a speech. So sometimes we have a recording of a speech, and sometimes my guest just gives us a speech on the podcast. And then I take notes and give them feedback when they're all done. So today we're going to do that with the lovely Adrian Booher. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Would you please introduce yourself for the audience?
My name is Adrian Booher. I love talking, and so I need to do more with it. I have started. I I do have a powerful message that was given to me and that changed my life. So I'm going to give it to you today.
That is awesome. I'm excited to hear it. And tell me, how did you end up becoming a speaker? What led you down that path?
Sharing. I've always loved teaching, speaking. It never bothered me to be asked to speak in church. In fact, I was never thought that I was asked often enough. Yeah. And then when I decided to write a book, I always knew that I would do speaking along with it. So
That's perfect. What
got the book written. Now it's time to speak.
nice. And what's the name of your book?
It's called Love Yourself First.
Oh,
It's getting a revision because it's been about 5 years now.
oh,
Getting a revision. So it may end up being Friend Yourself First because
ooh,
it's a little more active.
I like that because you friend people on Facebook.
Yes. I love how friend has become a verb
I
in
know,
social
right?
media.
That is really cool. I love that too.
Yeah.
All right. Friend yourself first. That will be a fun addition. I like it. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear your speech. And you are ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yep.
right. Well, then I'm not going to time you or anything. You just take the time that you need, and I won't interrupt you. And then at the end, I will give you all my notes on
All
ways
right.
to make it better and things that you did awesome.
I'm excited. I'm
Yay.
excited.
All right. Well,
All
whenever you're
right.
ready, go ahead.
Okay. I did not know how I got to where I was. I wasn't in pain. It was just kind of this achy feeling. I was lost. And there was nothing I felt like I could get excited about. Classic signs of depression, I know. And I tried what I thought I knew to shake that depression. All the classic things, you talk to people, you volunteer, you get out, you do stuff. And of course, there are still the kids at home. And so it kept me going and it kept me going. And I would feel some relief. But then I was just right back to the Walking Dead, basically. Everything I did, I felt was wrong somehow, that I was missing something. So I tried exploring. And it's hard. There's so many of us out there that that just kind of spiral, that just kind of end up lost. And we don't know how we got there. There's been no, abusive incident. There's been no humongous challenge. We didn't decide to climb Mount Everest. We didn't and fail, or we didn't, there wasn't anything monumental. And so there's a little bit of guilt maybe for being where you are because life is good. There's nothing beating you down, no super hard struggle, that you're just not there. You're lost. So I was sitting in a workshop one day, and I'm a big proponent of the golden rule. Ever since I started raising kids, I thought, we need the golden rule in our house. So I was sitting in this workshop, thinking of the golden rule, do for others what you want others to do for you. You know, it's kind of a reciprocal principle there. And I started realizing most people don't stop to think about what they want. Therefore, they don't really know what they want. And so as I'm thinking all intellectual about this bomb went off in my heart. And I realized I don't know what I want anymore. I was at the tail end of raising 10 kids. That's it, you might say. No,
Wow.
10 beautiful kids. And I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I wanted. I knew the favorite ice cream of my kids. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly which one was what, but I would go to the grocery store. I go, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So after that bombshell, the next time I went to the store and started picking up ice cream, I thought, what's my favorite? Wow, I really had to think about that. So I started buying different, I love ice cream, period. And that's kind of why I use it in this talk, because I love ice cream, almost any kind. But what is my favorite? Because I would just eat any of it. And I didn't know. I didn't know what was my favorite. What was my favorite meal? I don't know. Every birthday, what's your favorite meal, kiddo? What's your favorite meal, kiddo? And what's your favorite breakfast? What's your favorite cake? What was my favorite? Where did my favorites go? So I took the golden rule deeper. It's been throughout history, the earliest form in writing that you can find the golden rule is in Egypt, like 4,000 years ago. Ancient Greece, ancient Rome. I mean, this thing is all over the place. And basically says, be nice, right? Oh no. Oh no. I went deep. And the interesting thing is that most of these iterations of this concept are written in the negative form, like in an ancient Indian manuscript. It says, never do to others what you would consider an injury to yourself. And so that's kind of a negative form. Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done for you. Then comes along the New Testament. And what is super, super cool about Jesus' teachings is that he turns this whole concept on its head. He doesn't say, don't do for others what you wouldn't want done for you. He doesn't even say, do for others what you would want them to do for you. He flips the order and he says, whatever you want men to do for you, you do that for them. And that, when I realized that, I'm like, wow, I have to know first what I want. And remember, I didn't know. I didn't know. How many of your things do you know? What favorites do you have? And if you have favorites, do you tell people? Because I ask other people their favorites. I want to know theirs. They probably want to know yours too. So this gospel principle, once we turn it on its head and turn it backwards, forwards, then it makes so much sense with the gospel principles. Love your neighbor as yourself. That includes both of them, because if you want to serve and you do it the way the Savior asks you to serve, the way you want to be served, you have to turn inside first. You have to look into your heart first. And then you know how to serve your neighbor. This also solves this dilemma of the last shall be first and the first last. How does that work? So I put myself last here on earth. That's how we usually interpret it. Then I get so many rewards in heaven, right? No, not really. I put myself last, so I'm going to serve my neighbor. But in order to serve them, the way the Savior asked me to serve them, I have to first ask myself what I want. And that puts me first too. It all happens at the same time. You know how gospel principles just kind of blend, like mercy and justice blend in love? Last and first blends with the golden rule. Now, why is this significant? It's because I finally started to get to know my heart. I started to get to know who I was, how I wanted to be served, and what I wanted out of life, which is big. This whole thing started, I already told you I had 10 kids. We started with twin boys. They're 35 now. But trying to get the sandwich cut right, and one of them wanted squares and the other one wanted triangles. Hello. And heaven forbid if I got them mixed up, which I always did. How many of you call one child by another child's name? I still do it all the time. It's right there. It happens to everybody. So it started with those twins. And then as the kids get, when you start out with twins, okay, what's another one? And then another one, etc. I kept serving the way I thought people wanted me to serve them. Be nice, right? That's what we all think when we think, oh, the golden rule, let's be nice. But that is not at all what it is. There's such a deeper level. And when you start using this principle as a mirror into your soul, that inner mirror, you go into the mirror and you look, be out of place and not there, and you touch up your makeup or whatever. You have a mirror. You can see yourself. You know what to tweak. You know how you want to look, and you present yourself that way. But how do you present your heart? How do you present your heart to people? And I found that for me, the golden rule was the magic. It showed me what was in my heart, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if I was serving with, okay, now I have to do it. Okay, wait a minute. I'm doing this golden rule thing. So what do I want? I really just want to go to bed. Okay, no. Okay. The other, what I want, what do I want if somebody, if I need service? Would I want them to go ahead anyway? Because I know deep down they love me, even though it's inconvenient. So yeah, I can do that. And then when it's done, I find that my heart has lifted. My heart is higher. My mind is higher. And my energy and my attitude and my self-love is so much higher because I did do something for someone else that even though I didn't really want to do it for them, I knew that I would want that done for me if I was in that person's shoes. And again, we hear the golden rule all the time in different forms. Walk a mile in another person's shoes is one example. But doing it as the Savior dictated. First, exploring your heart. What do I want? What do I need here? And what would I want if I were in that position? That turned my life around. And the very final step, the one that my book is written about, is when I turned the golden rule to myself. And I said, if I would want that from others, can I give it to myself? And that's the magic. And I developed 7 steps from that. The first thing I ask myself is, what is the most basic fundamental thing I would want from others? That took a bit. I would want to be acknowledged and accepted for exactly who I was. Not what they wanted me to be, not what they expected me to be, not what they thought I should be, not even what I thought I should be. I wanted to be acknowledged and accepted. And so then, boom, turn it back around on myself. Do I acknowledge and accept myself where I am? And I'm starting to. I'm starting to get there. And I would love for you to come along with me. I have a 7-step email course, just seven easy lessons with these principles, because I didn't stop there. I want to be acknowledged and accepted. I want to acknowledge and accept myself. And then what's the next thing? We don't need to stop there. The next thing that I came up with is I want other people to believe the best about who I am, that it's enough, that I can get where I need to go, that I can be a good friend, that I can fulfill the things that I want to do. And so I need to believe that best about myself. 7 steps, just like that. Next step, what do I want next? You can do that too. You can look at my ideas in the 7 lessons, because they were life-changing for me. And I hope they will be for you too.
Well, that was great. Let me start with my feedback for you. I
Yay!
I would love for you to start on the ice cream aisle.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be a really fun place to start, and it would be really
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So just jump right in to I was standing on the ice cream aisle, and I realized in that moment I had no idea what my favorite ice cream flavor was.
Mm-hmm.
Then say, I'm at the tail end of raising 10 kids. And I tell you what, I know the favorite ice cream of all my children. But why didn't I know my own? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't that'd be a really good beginning, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Um, I I felt like I wanted more stories out of you, more
Ah,
like actual moments in time, like standing in
okay.
the freezer section looking at the ice cream.
Mm,
So, and
yeah.
I call those snapshots where you just kind of
Mhm.
describe one moment in time. So, like what you're looking at, what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, so that we kind of
Okay.
time travel with you back to that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I would like several more snapshots in your speech.
Okay.
Um, when you say you didn't know how you got to where I was. I'm just not there. I felt like I didn't really know what you were talking about. Like you were kind of dancing around, like you didn't quite want to say something, like you didn't want to quite say the word depression or something. Is that
Mm.
what was happening?
Um, yeah, I have trouble with that in my speeches and in my talks, because I don't really know how to explain it. It it's just kind of an awkward thing, because I don't know that it was exactly a depression, because I wasn't totally drowning and like can't get up and can't do this and can't do that. I was just like
Yeah.
on autopilot, just kind of dead. And I mean, that's, I guess, the best way I could describe it. My heart was dead.
Mm. Well, there are
But I
definitely
had beautiful kids. I love my kids. I got to
yeah,
hug kids. I got to,
right.
you know, we had food on the table. I mean, everything was good. but,
Everything was good. I like that.
but it wasn't
Well, there are levels of depression. So I think it was
true. True.
definitely depression. And so I
Mhm.
think you can say that.
Yeah, I can.
Also, I like you. I like the phrase, my heart was dead. I felt dead inside. I was going through the motions of a living human being, but I felt dead inside. What about that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So maybe switch it over to that. I loved your hand gestures. They're really appropriate. They really go with what you're saying. You talk
Good.
about, things in your heart. You had your heart, there was an explosion in your heart. And when you talk about yourself, you point to yourself and you touch your heart. That was really good. The only hand gesture I would suggest maybe not doing is pointing at people.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's got really aggressive
Maybe
energy.
like this kind of point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, two different times you kind of asked a question or explained something and then said right and then
Mm,
immediately like snatched it back from us like you were you were trying to trick us to agree with something you thought was false and then
Mm.
like kind of shame us for agreeing with you. Just a little bit. It
Okay.
was just a little bit of that energy. So
Mm.
I would maybe don't do that. So like both times it was about the definition of the golden rule, I think, both
Mm.
times. And so
Okay.
it means this, right? No, it doesn't mean that at all. So I feel like that's also
Well,
a
yeah.
little aggressive.
Okay. So
And
that's where I was, and that's what I felt. But yeah.
a
Okay.
good
I
thing
can
for
see
you
where
to
it would
say
come
was
over.
is that's what I believed at the time.
Mm. Hmm.
And then
Okay.
you're not making it like an attack on the audience. Just say, that's what I believed at the time. What I didn't know was that I didn't really understand it fully yet. And so I'm
Okay.
excited to share with you what I learned about
Mm.
the deeper layers of the golden rule that most people don't talk about. So
Okay.
then you're bringing us in instead of separating, you're dumb and I'm smart kind of energy. You're saying, I
Okay.
didn't understand it and now I do, and I'm so excited to explain this to you because it's mind blowing and it's amazing. See, that's very different.
Okay. Yeah. Very different kind of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I do think it would be awesome if you explained very specifically at one point what you believe the golden rule is now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure I fully understand what you understand about it. So I would
Mm.
hear a really specific explanation because you
Okay.
obviously understand it on a deeper level than most humans.
Hmm.
And I think we need to hear your exact detailed definition of
Okay.
the deeper understanding of the golden rule.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
This I loved. I would like a little bit of a story with the sandwiches. Like
Mm.
maybe tell the story of one day when you
Like
mixed them up.
in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take a moment out of
That would be
your
fun.
past when you gave one the
Mhm.
wrong shape and what happened. Like that could be a really funny story. I love the whole idea of the twins had to have different shaped sandwiches. That's really
Uh,
cute and funny. So I would
yeah.
elaborate on that story a little bit more. That was
Okay.
that was cute. And that would make people feel more connected to you as a
Yeah.
mom because we've all
What mom doesn't know that
exactly.
there's a certain way you're supposed to cut sandwiches?
We all know. So that would be fun to make a connection with us.
Okay.
I like at the end that when you told about your 7 steps, you only gave the first two. And then if people want to hear the rest of the five, then they can go download your free gift. That was really smart. A lot of speakers fire hose their audience with all the
Mm.
information they have because they're
Hmm.
so excited to share it. They
Yeah.
get overly excited and they blurt out everything. And an
Yeah.
audience gets overwhelmed and exhausted and they check out when that happens. You gave the
Right.
perfect amount of information. You
Oh,
did
good.
not fire hose. You eased everybody into it and you
Hmm.
gave just enough information to get your point across. And then you offered the 7 steps email course if they wanted to go learn more. So that is really good and definitely a skill that most speakers need to develop. You've already got it. Good job.
Good.
Yay.
Thanks.
That's what I had. Do you have any
Cool.
feedback for yourself or questions about anything or how it went?
Um, I did enjoy doing it standing up rather than sitting down because I
Makes
had
a difference.
more movement.
Yeah.
Uh,
Energy's better when you stand up too.
so I'm grateful you let me stand up and adjust my camera and make sure I had it all right.
Yeah, it
So
is helpful. I like that
appreciate
too.
that.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think you did a great job. How many times have you given this speech?
Um, probably for
Nice.
I've been on a few podcasts over this past year, not very often.
Okay.
Um, mhm.
Good. All right. Well, it's a good one to keep working on.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, so just to recap, start with the ice cream story, start
Mhm.
on the
Okay.
aisle and give us a
Yeah.
snapshot. Add us a snapshot of the sandwich story and
Okay.
come out and say depression. Don't be afraid to say the word.
I'm, I think I shy away from it because I I see so many with depression that is really deep, and and I almost feel like I'm dishonoring them because I don't feel like I got that deep. I maybe I wasn't, didn't know it.
Well, and maybe that's your point. Maybe that's your mission to
Yeah.
help women that have mild depression who are living
Yeah.
a functional life, but they feel dead inside and they feel
Yeah.
guilty calling it depression. Maybe that's who you're here to serve.
True.
Maybe you're here to validate to them that is not normal. That is a form of
Yeah.
depression, and you deserve help. You deserve to
It
love
deserves to
yourself.
be addressed.
You deserve to
Right.
be addressed. You deserved
Mhm.
happiness. So, yeah, I don't feel like you should shy away from calling it that. And I think it's a good idea to point it out that just
Mhm.
because your depression isn't as bad as some people's doesn't mean you don't deserve help. Doesn't mean you don't deserve validation for your feelings. And doesn't mean you
Mhm.
can't call it depression because it is. If you're dead inside, you're
Thank you.
having depression, right?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Definitely.
So, what's your plan with speaking? Do you have a speaking gig set up? You got one on your calendar?
I I do not
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
Um, I am part of a couple of the Facebook groups, the speaker connections, and
Good.
need a guest.
Yeah.
So I mean that's how I've gotten the 4 or 5
Good.
podcasts
That's awesome.
that I've had,
That's great.
and just kind of looking for more avenues.
Yeah. All right. Well, if people want to find you online, how do they find you?
AdrianOnLife.com.
That's your
I've got
website.
a lot to say on life.
Ah, awesome. AdrianOnLife.com.
Yes.
And your 7 steps email course is on there. So people can go sign up for
Yes,
it.
you can sign up for it on there.
Go there. If you want to connect with her, maybe have her on your podcast
Mhm.
and go connect with this amazing woman. Adrian, thank you for being on the
Thank
podcast.
you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for doing
being
an amazing
open.
work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Well, that is it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Uh, Subscribe, like, please leave us a 5-star review. And to connect with Adrian, remember go to adrianonlife.com. And we will see you next week. See you later, everybody.